All right, I'm going to read to you an article from Newsday today about Long Island and climate change. It's actually an article about it. I'm going to give Newsday credit for actually finally covering this because what this article is going to basically be about is that we are experiencing fewer days of record cold. The number, and we're getting much more record warmth than record cold. And that's all part of the climate change. Let's read this article, and I'll put some graphs on the screen from the article as well. So this is the article in Newsday called Hot Take, Long Island's Weather Goes to Extremes. And it says, since 1999, Long Island sweltered on 12 of its hottest days, with highs ranging from 97 to 102 degrees, according to the Northeast Regional Climate Center. Over the past 20 years, Long Islanders have had more than twice as many occasions to seek relief from the extreme heat as the extreme cold, reflecting trends found in a national study, climatologists say. Long Island MacArthur Airport saw 247 records tied or broken for daily high temperatures, compared with 100 for daily lows, according to the Northeast Regional Climate Center, based at Cornell University. That's looking at data from 1999 to 2018 for the airport, where records go back to September 1963. As for the top 20 rankings of the hottest and coldest temperatures during that record-keeping period, since 1999, Long Island sweltered on 12 of its hottest days, with highs ranging from 97 to 102 degrees. Looking at the top coldest temperatures, there hasn't been one since January 15, 1988, when a frigid -7 was reported. So they have a graph here, and I'll put this in the screen here for you. The New York area, as measured at Central Park, which has been seeing more high temperature records than low temperatures records in the past recent decades. Certainly, Mother Nature is a fan of variety, with some months, seasons, and years just naturally coming in warmer or colder than others. We expect weather to give us natural swings, with those hot and cold extremes ordinarily balancing out over time, said Jessica Spacchio, climatologist with the regional center. But we are in a warming world, and we see the hot extremes outnumbering the cold, she said, in the airport's case by almost 2.5 to 1.5 to 1 over the past 20 years. And this means a need for monitoring impacts on the likes of health, agriculture, home heating, and cooling. This is in keeping with the Associated Press analysis of 424 weather stations in the contiguous United States, ones with temperature records going back to at least 1920. Over the past 20 years, Americans have been twice as likely to sweat through record-breaking heat than shiver through record-setting cold, said the AP, as well as that, in a stable climate, the numbers should be roughly equal. The AP also reported that the National Center for Atmospheric Research climatologist scientist Gerald Meehl, who has published peer-reviewed papers on the rising hot-to-cold ratio, said people pay more attention to climate when records are broken. Still, there are many ways that the current warming of our climate system is and has been quantified, said Josh Timlin, earth science teacher at North Shore High School in Glen Head. Whether it's melting sea ice, ranking in the warmest years on record, or looking at extreme temperature trends, all lines of evidence point to a warming planet, said Timlin, who studies area weather and climate data, often sharing his findings on Twitter. In an interview Wednesday, Andrew Wheeler, newly appointed administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, told CBS News that climate change is an important issue, but most of the threats it poses are 50 to 75 years out. Climate scientists see the necessity for broad and immediate action to address global warming, with the United Nations saying that now is the defining moment to do something about it. As for Long Island, this area, Timlin said, is somewhat unique in our proximity to the Atlantic Ocean moderates the extremes to some extent. Still, warming conditions lead to air's greater capacity to hold water vapor, and Timlin points out to last August, which region-wide broke all sort of records for extreme dew points. This is something I've been talking about. All right, you remember last August. At its basic, the dew point is a temperature at which the air becomes saturated with water vapor, which then starts condensing. Think fog and dew. It's possible that extremely humid summers can become more common in a warmer climate. With that said, let's not say goodbye quite yet to those multi-layer bundle-up days. We'll still have weather, Spacchio said, so there'll still be cold days and months with seasons with just potentially fewer and fewer of those. So here's a little chart here that I'll put this on the screen again here.
Long Island MacArthur Airport saw 242nd records tied or broken for daily high temperatures. That's looking at data from 1999 to 2018 for the airport, but records go back to September 1963. 4 of the 7 times the thermometer topped out at 100 degrees above happened within this 20-year period. So there is only one extreme heat record from 1966 of 104 on July 3rd, and then the other one was 100 back in August 2nd, 1975. But all the other ones, number 102 on July 5th, 1999, 101 on July 6th, 2010, 101 on July 21st, 1991, 100 on July 22nd, 2011, and 100 on August 9th, 2001. And this is Long Island, where we get help from the ocean. In Jersey, they're getting hit even worse. And I'll give Newsday credit, but they got to talk about what's going on in New Jersey, because Toms River could wind up hitting 110 one of these days, which is absolutely insane. But I wouldn't be surprised if it happens.
So that is an interesting article on climate change there. Please read it in the link below. And I'm glad that Newsday finally reported it. Maybe more of the mainstream media will start reporting on this, because we're in a climate emergency. And what you notice from the charts is that there's a much more extreme warmth than there is extreme cold. And there's much more warmth than cold. So the heat is more extreme, but the cold is not. And that shows that it's getting warmer. And that's all part of climate change. And I'm glad they reported on it, and I figured I would talk about it because, again, this is a very important issue. Take it easy.